QualityRetails.com. We sell high-quality face masks, gloves, sanitizers, and high-quality PPE for work. We are retail and wholesale distributors. You can buy for your own personal use or business use with our wholesale distribution. Delivery is free inside France. For many more items and to buy now, visit us online at www.QualityRetails.com.
We are live. We are coming to you from, it's taking a little while for the Facebook and everything to catch up, but I am so honored to have my good friend, A.R Rahman, A.R Rahman, here with me today, all the way from Chennai, India. So we're letting everybody sort of catch up and find us. I hope that I'd like to say a little bit, for those of you people who don't know who I am, my name is Bernard Hiller. I teach acting here. I teach here and around the world. I specialize in teaching people how to find their creativity and how to use it in their life and in their business. And today we're going to find out about AR's incredible musical journey. He is a music icon for those who don't know who he is, and you should. He's sold over 100 million albums. He's won an Oscar. He's won a Grammy. He's won a Golden Globe. He's won a BAFTA. He's also been listed as the 100 most important people on Time magazine. Influential. You work with Bono, Rolling Stones, Coldplay. You did a West End show. My God, you're so I'm tired just reading your credits. It's like you've done the Bombay.
Okay, enough. Oh, enough. Thank you, Bunny.
I just love Bombay. You've done 100. I want to talk about 100 soundtracks. I welcome you, the one, the only, A.R Rahman. A.R Rahman, you're here. Thank you very much for being here with me.
Thank you, Bunny. How are you doing? How's the weather in Los Angeles?
The weather in LA is always nice. How is quarantine? How is quarantine in Chennai?
It's very peaceful, and in a very selfish way, it is really cool. But then you see a lot of people suffering,
Oh, yes.
and the other side is really dark. But yeah, this is a phase which you're going to remember for the rest of your lives. And
Oh yeah, it's good. What do you recommend for people to do? You're such an artist, a musician. Would you recommend people to do at a time like this?
Each one, it's subjective, each one of us have our own journey. I think it's catching up time and realization time, spending time with families, spending time improving your skills, spending time going internal. Yeah.
I have been fortunate to be a friend of yours for a long time, so I thank you for coming on. My family loves your family. You have an incredible family unit. Where did that come from? You're so close to your children. You have them all in show business with you. You take them with you, and I know that you want them around. Where did that come from? Where did that come? That love that you just give out to everybody. Where does that come from?
With the children, I think, of course, because I never had, my father passed away very early, but so I was trying to be that father I never had, and see what we can do, because most of the people who are celebrities, we only think about ourselves in a way, because we are challenged every moment, and it's important to nurture our kids, because they will be the future. They'll be taking whatever you've done so far further. So like what Confucius says, you can teach someone, they'll forget, but if they get involved, I think they'll learn. And so that's also very risky. You can't involve somebody in a professional work. So these 2-3 months were actually in a way where I started involving my kids, because there's nobody else around. So just go send this file and, try to mix this and try to comp this. And it was interesting. So my daughter sang a couple of songs, and then my son was learning, editing and kind of mixing and all the stuff. So, like I said, it's catching up time.
No, but it's such a beautiful thing about you is that you are really using your creativity. Today, what I want to talk about is celebrating the artist, which is the theme of all these Instagram Live. And today we're doing Facebook Live because we wanted to have you play your beautiful piano. I know that you mentioned your father, and he died at the age when you were 9 years old, which was a very traumatic experience for you. And I know you've talked about it to me many times. Is it true you started playing piano at the age of 11 for your family, trying to raise money or make?
I, I mean, yes. Sometimes your life is shaped by destiny. Like I had to learn because that's the only way to survive, and we had all the equipments, and my mother felt that it's a better way to do dealing with things rather than selling all the equipment. So what my father had, and when going back to that, I feel like each one of us are, in a way, when you're forced to do things, and that becomes your foundation, and for me, I think the foundation was for 10 years of my life was going through everything which is normal. So I didn't have to do normal things. I could do things which I liked when I started my career as a composer. And that saved me, trying and testing and failing. And so I could start with a fresh, you know, page. And
What do you think you would
that's,
have done? What would you have done if you hadn't gone into music? I mean, is that something that you just knew in your? What would you be doing right now if you weren't a musician?
I don't know. I mean, that's a question I get asked, and um, we are led to certain things, and we are forced to rise, and we get messages, from nature, from the infinite. We have to take those messages, we take those coded messages and go forward, I think.
Well, the
And
idea, you know how much I believe in the fact of listening to instinct. You're a very spiritual man. You're very humble and
thank you.
spiritual. I want to know something. What is the first song that you remember learning on the piano when you were just a child? What was one of your first songs you remember that touches you? That maybe you could play that song for us. What was that first song?
Um, Good question.
But you know,
There were a
like,
couple of things which my father, I mean, because when everybody, father is a hero because when he was doing music, he had all this vinyl records, and I would play them. And so he did very less movies because he was an assistant and he was a conductor arranger for other people. But his own music was probably 6 to 7 movies, I think. I may be wrong.
do you remember any of the
Movies I
songs and any of the melodies that he played that he composed?
Uh, yes, I think there was one.
Can you play something for him in honor of your dad? Your dad? Could you just play something for him?
This is called from a movie called Kaveri. Kaveri is actually a river, and it's a name. It goes like that.
Play with such soul and such. All your music has such inspiration. And when you look at, I've known you for a while, and it's just amazing. When I got to when I first started finding out more about you, because I wanted to see what don't I know about Mr. A.R. Rahman. It seems that when you started the industry, you started doing jingles. Is that true? That you did jingles for advertising. Is that correct?
Yeah, jingles were actually uh, redemption for me because I was playing in the movie industry and everybody knows about that. from 82 to 91, I think, a session. So around 87, 88, when I got my, my samplers and, sequencer, which I brought from Singapore, I had the sense of freedom, so I could do my own thing. And I would get hired by composers to program, you know, on sequencing, MIDI sequencing, and all this stuff. And that's when the jingle market kind of opened up, and it was a completely new crowd, young crowd, and they were doing international things, ads which are uh, made here, which went international, or they would adapt some of the stuff international thing to national. So it kind of pushed me to learn that there was another world, another way of looking at music, and so and I would ask all my colleagues, friends I made on the thing, to give me tapes of foreign commercials just to listen, just to see how the world was working, Spanish ones and South American, European, and the East, Japanese and Chinese and Taiwanese, and I think that kind of opened up. When something is smaller, it's easier to decode and see how it works, how sound to picture works, in a different way. Where traditional film scoring here was formulaic, and when you hear a sound of a background score, you know which reel it was. There were 14 reels those days, and the movies were 3 hours, and there was an interval between in movies, and
Right.
you
And
can
that,
hear, okay, this is the time when the hero is coming and bashing up the villains. This is reel 13, and there will be a Chennai solo, which is like an oboe, which plays sad when somebody passes away, and okay, something's happening here. Next is gonna be the happy moment. So it was formulaic those days. I was in that era, and I think when I came in the 90s, I think more experimental films started coming in, and sound began to open up. There was Dolby stereo suddenly. Until then, it was all mono, right? Even the movie theaters were mono. Dolby stereo came in, I think it was 95, and then suddenly this whole jump of DTS and Dolby Surround and now Atmos, and amazing things are happening. So that's a journey.
the journey, yes. What was the music that most influenced you? What kind of music inspires you? What do you need to inspire you? What do you have to?
I'm No, I played all kinds of music when I was young, from 81 to 80 or 81, 82 to 90. I was playing probably a session every day, a couple of sessions every day for different people. Folk music, Indian classical. Then I was setting up equipments for college rock bands. I was also a roadie. So and then you will be listening to records. As film musicians, it's the sound um, scape was very limited. So we would go out in the car, hang out and listen to what was happening around the world. And I was in a band, like film musicians band kind of thing, where we would play things which were not cliche, what we do as work, but something else. So this is the influence. These are the influences. My father had records of Bach and symphonies and Latin American music and African music and Chinese music, and so there were these. So this is the vocabulary of the whole encyclopedia of what I started with. And then I was learning piano on and off. I was learning Carnatic music on and off, and then I was learning life.
What did? What would you tell the younger A.R. Rahman that he does he knew? What would you be telling the younger A.R. Rahman if you could go tell him something? What would you want to
Ah, wow. Well, I could go and tell him that you did well,
what?
within all the limitations. Yeah.
To live, to have more fun?
No, I think music is always fun. More than all the vices. I think when you get into music, it's productive. It's feeding your family, and it's still fun. It's not working, doing a 9 to 5 job. No disrespect to 9 to 5 jobs. I'm saying, like, this is it's gift, it's a blessing.
The idea is
Because
that you have a gift. There's no question about it. The gift has come. You obviously started becoming very successful in Bollywood, as we call it, and then Hollywood called you. You also started working with Mani Ratman, who gave you a chance to be in the first huge hit of yours called Roja. That was the first time as being a music composer. What did you always seem to take the opportunities that come your way. Uh,
no, this was an extraordinary opportunity because, like, for a newcomer, if you get, what if a newcomer gets Spielberg in Hollywood, like at the prime of, so that's what happened to me. Like, this was a stroke of luck where I bumped into Mani Ratnam and he comes in, like, whole India adored him. And and every actor wanted to be in his movies, every technician wanted to be in his movie, and he leaves his composer, he comes to me, and he's like a brother, a kind man, and so that's the biggest thing I would say ever happened in my life. And so, directors are collaborators in a way. They are like A&R people. They are, if you make friends with somebody who trusts you and you trust them, that's the best relationship. And then this relationship was like, he was trusting me. He was like, I was a nobody, and he was trusting me like hell. And I said, like, I have to give my best to this man because he comes and he leaves this legendary composer and he makes a choice to use me. So I have to rise to that level. So within my limitation, I was getting all the things I knew a little bit and putting on the table and saying, now it's you, select what you want.
what I know
And
that you give everything you can. I want you to. What would you tell? There are many musicians who are listening to you right now. What piece of advice would you give a musician who wants to also be a composer and get in the industry? What would you recommend him do?
I think you all know that uh, there are two things when you're scoring for a movie: the emotion part of it, and and the originality. You know, so originality doesn't come in a day. It's not an accident. It's the choices you make on the instruments, the choices of progression, choice of how you present the music, a choice of not using certain things which are cliche, at the same time not going away from the emotional point of view. You have to make them choke. How are you going to do all this? How can you move away from a tried and tested formula and still come
Find
up with,
something. Find something original. Being an
yeah. Original is also, uh, sometimes the most tried and tested ones work for certain things, but then how can you make it yours? How can you move away from the formula but yet have your sound on it? So we're all still trying to create that back in each film, like moving away from things which are already done. And then sometimes something is successful, 100 people copy that. It's all over the place. And then when you do it, you feel like you're ripping from your own thing, and you're so. And then again, you're working in Hollywood. It's like they expect a certain sound, even if it's a cliche. And so there are many factors when somebody shines in a thing there. It's trust. It's how you build up your aura. How I mean, not intentionally. It should be you, and constantly refining and searching new things. Not about how many people are going to listen to your music. It's how how you're enjoying it, how you're putting your everything into it, and being honest. And sometimes you do everything and still it's not shining. It's not happening. It happens to many of us. You feel like I've did everything, but it's still not, something's not going on. So
I can say that when I've been to your house, there is always a new instrument that I've never seen in the world. You always are playing with new instruments, but there's something interesting that you do. But before you start playing, you always take a moment as though this spirituality or God is coming through you. It's like you're connecting to something higher. That
yeah, I feel like certain things we know, certain things we don't know. We feel it internally. We feel the gut instinct, sixth sense, which and that is the science which they call spirituality, God, infinity. And so, how do you evoke this? And each one of us have our own paths. And so, when you are into it, when whatever path I've selected, I whatever is convenient to me, whatever works for me, I go there, and take from there. And so everything is just probability, and you believe and then do. When something works, it's great. When something doesn't work, also it's great because maybe that path is not good for you, and that's why there is no success in it. And then you just move on.
Creativity is the fact that you have to be ready to lose to win. You're always ready to trust yourself. There's not that many people. I mean, this is what I teach around the world. To trust your instincts, to trust your feelings. And most people live in their head. Can you play one of your beautiful compositions that has come inspired that you particularly like? I know you have a couple of incredible things from the 99 songs, which is something there, and Shikara, which is the theme from Shikara. Plus, there's so many. Can you play something that you felt was inspired strongly
Okay,
from?
I'll probably Shikara just released yesterday on my YouTube channel, and it's a story of refugees coming out of Kashmir, and it's a moving movie made by Vidhu Vinod Chopra. So I did the background score for that. Let me try to remember the theme. Because, I think that's what I do.
Well, music really touches everyone in every country. I mean, it's more powerful than anything. I don't think there's anything that's more. You have millions of followers who love your music. It doesn't come with a language. It comes the language of speaking to the soul. Uh, there is a there is you have so many videos. I was watching this Infinite Love video. But in all the videos you have, always I have this feeling of togetherness of being with the earth. And when did you start knowing that you could become a singer because you were a composer? Because you're a very good singer. When did that happen? When did you say, "Well, I think I need to sing"? Is that something that came naturally to you?
uh, I think two artists who when I listened to, they made this compelling feeling that I should also sing,
Who
even
was
though
it?
the one was Freddie Mercury, Queen, and the other one is a real world artist from Peter Gabriel's umbrella of artists called Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahab. And he did Kawali with Peter Gabriel. And I listened to those albums, I felt like, oh my god, this is a whole new vibe of singing. It's almost like rock with Indian classical in it. And then when I was scoring for movies, doing working on songs and producing songs, I would play the singers on my keyboard. I would play the tune, so because I was embarrassed to sing. And one day I would be teaching them like, oh no, it's like this. And then one day I was like, wait a minute, I'm singing.
What did
I'm singing. What's happening? And and then so on my first song, this is after the jingles. Like jingles also had production and teaching and all this stuff. And first when I didn't find a singer, I wanted to try out a boatman's voice, and I did that. And then the director said, "Whose voice is that?" I said, "Why?" whose voice is it? I said, it's mine. Keep it that way. Don't take it off. It's like, so that changed my whole career. Then I said, okay. And then he said, I want you to sing. And there was Hama Hama, which one of the biggest hits from Bombay. And then, the rest is history. Then I try to sing. I still feel like uh, you're wearing different hats. One is composer hat, producer hat. And so to be a singer, you need to do the workouts really regularly. You need to be in shape with the voice. Otherwise, it embarrasses you. And so when I'm in a concert, after I think when we have like 2-3 weeks of rehearsal and you go on stage, you feel confident. But then suddenly when people ask me to sing, I always feel like, no, not now.
If I asked you to sing, and you'd be like a not now, you have nothing.
Yeah, it's a not now now.
I will have to come to your concerts. By the way, I've been to your concerts. People go crazy. How does
Yeah.
that have so many people adore you and love your music? What does that feel like?
Uh, I think India, in a way, we are lucky that we're not pigeonholed into, one. It's a good thing and a bad thing. So you do everything. You do folk music, you do classical music, you do pop numbers, you do a score. Like, so you can do anything, and they trust you. Unlike the West, you want trap music, you have to go to this producer. You want a score like John Williams, you go to John Williams. You want a Zimmer like score, you go to Zimmer. So, but here you're wearing different caps and hats, and then say like, there's one name, and then you get to produce all these fun things. And sometimes when it works out, it's great. When it doesn't work out, and the movie does well, you're not questioned. You just live your life. So, so the scope and the bandwidth of the music is bigger. It's not just a score. It's not just this. It's not just that. It's got so much variety, and it challenges you every day. Like today, I've got to do a song which is like sung in Banaras, which is near the Ganges River, and how would it sound? So you do research and you go, what is the mode I need to work on, and so it makes your life more interesting than
Well, you
having
have
to
a
say.
fascinating life. I want to talk a little bit the fact that I met you in a movie called Slumdog Millionaire. That's the first time I met you. I remember to speak to you when I met you. You had such
I was telling my wife today that yeah, I met you with Sharon Stone. Like there was a party where there was a promotional thing of Fox, I think, and I met your son, David.
That's right. That's right. I remember meeting you there, and there was just something so unique and special about you. Can you play a little bit of Slumdog Millionaire? I know the people love that theme. Play a little bit.
I'll play Latika's theme um, together.
Well, what can we say? Um, there is something so beautiful listening to you play. But tell us, what was the experience like? The um, the Academy Award experience and winning 2 Academy Awards, and especially for the song that people just love all the time, played all around the world, Jai Ho. You can't
Yeah,
get not hearing that Jai Ho everywhere. That is every dance class I've been to, I got a Jai Ho. What is the experience like being at the Academy?
it's like a dream because coming from this little town, Chennai, and crossing over to the north, which is a unique thing again, and working with Andrew Lloyd Webber in the UK, where you see your name on the buses in the train stations, and then going to Broadway and then Oscars. Um, if you look at if you study my personality, you say like, oh, this guy, no, I don't think he's going to make it. But um, so I think I'll be like a living example that you don't have to have to look a certain way. You don't have to be a certain way to achieve anything, but you just focus on your thing, and then your work will uh, take you.
Who focus on their talent and just believe.
Focus and yeah, just dive deep and trust and be honest. And I think and be yourself.
What is the best
I'm
piece
just now copying other people's.
of advice anybody ever gave you?
Sorry.
What is the best piece of advice somebody gave you to connect to that?
I think um, when I started from '86 to '91, there was a very special phase. Uh, I was tested a lot. I was humiliated, tested, and I think these experiences made me learn something which is very unique, like be in the Zen mode, be detached. Because when you're too passionate about something and it goes away, you're frustrated and you become sad, and these are all negative energies. And when you're detached, you can take failures, you can take humiliation, you don't allow anything to come and disturb your internal self. And I think that stayed with me forever. When a soundtrack does well, a movie does well, it's the same thing feeling. And when it doesn't do well, it's the same feeling. Like, okay, it didn't do well. Let me see why. There are a lot of other facts which act up to the success. For me, I think it's a spirituality is like a foundation. So I believe that what you destined and what you work towards, like karma, really
What
gets you. And
kindness about you? Everywhere you go, people adore you. You have this. This is who you are. It's in your core. Um, what I want to know is that you started also now producing and writing songs and composing, and all of a sudden you're now directing. I heard that you became a director. How is that you started becoming a director for a film called La Musque?
it's all your fault. Yeah, I think I remember when I was in my LA house, I met once and I said, I got the script idea, so I need to learn script writing. And you suggested your friend Gabriel.
Gabe, I sent you Gabe.
So Gabriel came in and he said, instead of teaching something else, let's start dissecting your script and what it needs. So we were doing a case study and we were workshopping on that for a couple of 3-4 weeks, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Gabriel was introduced to me by you. And again in 2015, and you said you looked at some of my work, which I shot music videos, and you said, and you you kind of put that seed in my head that you can do anything, you have it, and kind of thing. Then it's all your fault. It's all your fault.
I was with you. I had the pleasure of working this film that's extraordinary, which is this virtual, unbelievable film. We shot it.
Yeah.
What's going on with La Musque? What's happening with La Musque? 'Cause I
So
want
La
every.
Mask. Yeah. Remember we were shooting it in Rome in 2016. It was ahead of its time, and we shot in the best quality, 4K, 60 frames per second, and the movie just got smell as a screenplay, and
Gorgeous.
yeah, and so we are on the very very last phase of stitching the whole thing together. We have, I think, 95% of the first two episodes are done. The third episode is being stitched now, and I think hopefully when all this COVID lockdown ends, we'll be pitching it to people, distributors, and it needs to be installed.
My God,
It's an installation, sensory installation.
what do you call it? How do you say it? The film is a virtual, uh,
It's a cinematic sensory project.
yes, cinema sensory project. I have
Cinematic. Oh, like it keeps adding.
La Musk. We had the pleasure, of course, with my son who adores you. My son is very upset because he told me, he wanted me to ask you one question. Did your children audition to get into your family? Because they're so talented. Why is that? How is
What?
it
What?
that
What?
David wants to know? Because he wants to, my son wants to become part of your family because he's a musician. So I want to know, did they audition? Now, how did you get these kids to
Actually, like I treat everybody like my family. And when we hang out or and whether it's David or Sam Schwartz's children or it is an emotional bonding. So we pray for each other, we wish well for each other, and that helps because it is like that because I spend more time with my friends than my family, my staff than my family. So he's welcome anytime.
No, no, no. He wants to come. He's coming. He wants to figure out what he has to do to get in, how to audition because he wants to be in a concert. I love your daughter. Your daughter is doing did something with Bono. Did you do something with Bono? Daughter
Yeah,
do one?
both of them sang for the. We did a song called Ahimsa with the U2.
Yeah.
And when U2 performed in Mumbai last year, they were a part of. Actually I didn't even tell them that they were my daughters. They recorded it and they liked that thing. So it was like a sign off in the very end, and they put that back in the beginning. And I was really surprised when I called my daughters and said, "Guys, your life is going to change." They were like afraid. What happened? I said, "This is what U2 has done. They put your voice in the beginning. You starting the song Ahimsa, and everything
Wow.
changed."
And well, it seems like your son is also following in your footsteps. He's such a sweet,
He is
kind.
young.
Oh,
He
he's
needs
young.
time.
He plays the piano. He's with you. I just saw him on your so many videos he's in. I mean, it's just like I'm telling you, you have such a sweet kindness of helping everyone. Uh, what would you say? Because people think that you have this perfect life. What do you do? Don't go well. How do you? You were mentioning before that you kind of try to not let it affect you. But what do you do when things don't go well? Is there something you could give some piece of advice for other people?
I think we have to do things which within where you can fix. There are certain things you can't fix, which is somebody you lose somebody, but all other things can be fixed, and it's with love and understanding, and taking steps which making sure that you don't tumble. For example, taking huge amounts of loans and thinking that everything is going to be good. So a lot of people are suffering now. They're not able to pay the interest on mortgage and everything. So I always keep this one thing when my mom taught me that don't go if you earn $2, you can take a loan for $1. So you can get it off. But if you earn one and then if you take four, nobody can guarantee your life because that is going to mess up your mind, and when you have people knocking it. These are basic things which I learned from my mother. So I keep telling my family the same thing. Like,
You know what? One of the things about your humanity is that you're very much a philanthropist. You always are helping the world. We were working on a project called Hands Across the World uh, with Neil. And where did that come from? Where you decided that you just wanted to give back? It's very traditional here in Hollywood. That a lot of them are putting their time and effort into. But where did that come from for you to help so many people?
um, I think when you do something for nature and do projects like that, it unites. There's no ego. There's no ego. You can do some extraordinary things which you can't do in a commercial way. You get to meet people and who have similar higher ideals and higher um, things they want to do for other people. So you make friends, and fortunately, anywhere I don't have a social life. I'm stuck always. Yeah, I'm behind, and I'm supposed to deliver something, and in a way it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing that there's not much free time. There is free time for the basic things like meditation, everything. things with family, but okay, let me go 2 days and go for a holiday and this and that. But the only time I socialized a bit was post Oscars. I remember we went to the Governor's Award
We'll talk
a couple
about
of
that.
times.
I would like to tell a little story, everybody. Here's a little background. I go to the governor's ball with the beautiful AR, and he sits down and he's eating. And I said, AR, what are you doing? No, eat, don't stand up and say hello to people. And he says to me, oh, people don't know me. I said, everybody knows you. Who's standing right there? It was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. And I said, let's go and say hello. And I said, who I was? Yeah. And then they said, yeah, oh, I know who you are. So everybody knew who you are. So I didn't let you eat so much that day. Everybody, they wanted to talk to you and they wanted to take a picture of you. Because sometimes, they don't know what exactly you look like, but they know your music. Uh, what do you think the experience working with Danny Boyle and you did a few films for him? What was it like working with him? How was that experience?
I think it's like for me, he's like so Indian in a way. So it feels like somebody, one of us. He's humble. He's kind of like a socialist. He believes, and so he would come in the tube, and then the little place I have in London, we would work. And both the movies were done like that. He would come in the evening, sit for a couple of hours, and in 10 days, 20 days, we'd finish a score. So then I worked with him on the Olympics a bit, and then his daughter Grace Boyle was working as a sensory director for my scent thing for Les Masques. So it's been a great relationship, and we keep bumping into each other.
Oh no, everybody adores you. And when they work with you, they keep wanting to work with you. When there's a piano there, it's hard for me not to. I sometimes love come over when you just play something that you spontaneously come up with. Well, how about that? Can you just improvise something for me right now? Because I always want them to feel what it feels when I come over to your house. You just go to the piano and you just start. You just
It
play.
never comes when people are watching. That's a problem.
I want to because you are so amazing. Do something, please, for me. Play something that comes to
Remember, you wanted me to play.
you. This, that's right. I told you that you asked when my son is getting married because you always wanted to play Havana Gilla.
What's the time now? Are we?
We have a time. Here's the thing. Before we say goodbye, I want what do people not know about you? What is something that you feel that people don't know about you?
I don't want them to know about it. Like, why should I tell what?
Well, what is it about you?
Well,
What
nothing.
kind of
I mean, I think my life is pretty straightforward.
yeah, but what hobbies do you do that some people don't even know? Some things that you love, type of music or thing that you do that
I
you love.
think this whole new thing about writing stories and having starting my own film company where I want to do musical movies. That's one thing I think not many people know still, even though the trailer's released and the soundtrack is released. I'm waiting for the release date for my movie 99 Songs because of COVID.
99 songs. I had the chance to work with one of your lead actors there. And
Yes, yeah.
I love that. I think it's so beautiful. Uh, you are really an inspiration for the world with the music. We need your music. Before we say goodbye, I want to say that It's like spending time with you. I'm doing this for my selfish reasons because having some time with Mr. AR is just a pleasure. You just feel better. Listening
I
to you.
couldn't hear you. Sorry, what did you say? I lost you.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Something happened.
Are we still on? Do we have it?
Sorry, no, yeah, I couldn't hear you.
All
What
right.
was it?
I said the idea is that when I listen to your music, you sort of calm the soul. And
Okay.
when I hear music, you make me feel like everything is possible. So I want to say um, that thank you on behalf of everyone. Keep sharing your gift. Keep keep making music, and we need the sounds of togetherness. It always feels like when we're together, it just you're always the friendliest person to everyone. And and we I want to say please say hello to your family.
I will.
Please say hello to everybody. I have to let you go because I know that you have another interview, and so you're a very busy man, and so you're doing a lot of these. I want to, in a way, this has brought us together, and I think that everyone needs to be inspired that you didn't have an easy life. You had a lot of things to overcome, but yet you decided to just focus and believe on your gift and your talent. What do you want the musicians or artists to know uh, that they can take with them for today? What do you want them to know? What message do you have for everybody?
I think you are the best motivator, and I've been hearing all your stuff. I think you should give that. I love to, I've been to your classes. I've been like a fly on the wall, and I think you should probably find something what you think is right about me, and you should give that advice.
Well, the advice is the fact that if you invest in yourself, people will invest in you, and you'll have a thing where the first person who has to believe in themselves is you. You're someone who there's a kind of a feeling of giving. It's not about what you're going to get, which is very Hollywood. It's about what you're going to give. The more you give, the more you get. And you're also what I call a self starter. You create your own opportunities. You don't
Okay,
wait for people. You're
that's
making.
important.
That's the part that you're. I think that's the biggest thing is that you don't sit around and wait because if nobody would have given you a career. No one would have said, here, start this. You were there and you made yourself available. But also, I think the biggest thing about you is you believe in miracles. You're definitely
Yes.
a miracle man because miracles have come your way and you're like, I'm ready. So are you ready and
Let
available?
me play a song. My
I
friend.
want to thank you. Listen, thank you. I'm going to see you soon. Hollywood is always waiting for you. All our people. I remember when I met you with Quincy Jones. He's a big fan of yours. Everybody's a fan. Please give
Such a
my
sweet man.
best, everybody. I want to thank your team for making this happen. I appreciate it. I love you. David loves you. We all care, and we all say goodbye. And I say thank you very much, Mr. A.R Rahman. See you then.
Shalom.
Salam. All right. See you later. Bye bye. See you
Bye.
later. Okay. So, what can we say? It's just amazing to see Mr. AR giving so much of himself, and it's kind of an amazing journey to spend time with him. I I want to let you know if you want to find out more about what I'm doing and how you can find out how you can use and find your creativity, please go on my website, bernardhiller.com. Join my newsletter. I think what we need to do is that we're all born to be creative, and you need to use your creativity in a positive way. You have to use your creativity not just and as an artist, you can use it in business, but creativity is the future. There has been a book written which is the future is going to be not for the people who know the most, but the people who listen to their creativity. Creativity is something that computers cannot learn, and that is something that humanity is so strong. They're strong with, which is increasing and I want to say and supporting your creativity. Believe in yourself. Be yourself because everyone else is taken. There's no one quite like you. There's no one quite have the courage to be your authentic self. I thank you. Please leave your comments. Do one thing. Tell me how you feel about this interview. I am so honored. We will have different artists coming up next week, different musicians. We've had all different types of people here, and we're here to celebrate creativity, something that everyone uses. And I thank you for spending some time with me. And I hope to hear from you soon. Please email me, and I talk to you soon. So until then, goodbye from Beverly Hills, California. We're here and saying it's time to be you. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.